YouTube Live, on Facebook Live. We welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this most auspicious day of Sri Nrsimha Chaturdashi. We wish you all a very, very Sri Nrsimha Chaturdashi. So, these Gitamrita sessions, we have been doing it for quite some time since last year, and we have covered up till now. We have covered till chapter 3, text 2, and that is available in our YouTube videos in the playlist section on Bhagavad Gita. So please, join us in the sessions going forward. Every Wednesday, we will continue on with this Bhagavad Gita sessions every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. and India time would be 7 p.m. So we welcome all of you once more, all of our beautiful viewers on YouTube Live and on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining us. So we'll start with our invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we will start our Sri Gitamrita from chapter 3. But today we will cover till text 10. As I already said, that we already have covered till text 2 of the chapter 3, which is entitled as Karma Yoga. We know chapter 2, Krishna is telling Arjuna, this is the chapter which is entitled, chapter 2 is entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. So in the second chapter, Krishna, we know how Arjuna actually, he submits himself to Krishna, because in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is giving so many reasons that why he should not fight. What is going to come about as destruction? Arjuna gives all those reasonings to Krishna. And he says that I don't care, oh Krishna, if I have to, if defame comes upon me, because I am not following, the prescribed duty of a Kshatriya, which is to fight. It's okay for me, I can live in this world by begging, but I cannot kill my own relatives. How can I do this? So Arjuna is overcome by so much of grief, so much of, compassion, seeing his relatives standing ready to battle with him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this was a very difficult time for Arjuna. That's what chapter 1 describes. Chapter 2, after giving all these arguments to Krishna, chapter 2, Krishna, is just listening. He was just listening to all the arguments that Arjuna was giving. And Arjuna, in the beginning of second chapter, he says, my dear Krishna, I am so confused by my own arguments that I don't know. I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Arjuna is accepting his condition. his situation. You see, this is one thing that we really need to learn from these great personalities like Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj, how they are submitting themselves to the authority, to the spiritual master. That unless we tell what our situation is, we accept that we are not capable of doing things by ourselves. Unless we accept it, and we accept it in front of our spiritual master, how will the spiritual master deliver us? How will he know? So, therefore, it is very, very important for us to speak. It is very important for us to speak. So, to accept our situation, whatever situation we may be in, if we are truthful, if we are honest to our spiritual masters, then they will know, okay, so the disciple is being truthful. And that quality is very much appreciated not only by the spiritual master, but by Krishna himself. Then the guru and the spiritual master and Krishna himself, they can pull us out of the attachments that are binding us, and they can slowly elevate us in the progress of Krishna consciousness. So therefore Arjuna is giving a huge lesson to all of us, that how we must accept our situation to an authority who we have some faith in. We should reveal our heart to our authority. Not many of us have direct access to our spiritual master, but the spiritual master has his representatives. The senior disciples are there who can guide us if we have that faith in them. So if we can just submit ourselves, if we can just open our heart to them, because they know what is best for us, they can guide us on how to actually follow the instructions of the spiritual master in our own lives, because they are doing the same thing. And because they are doing the same thing of taking instructions from another senior devotee, so they can guide us how to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. That's very, very important. That is the parampara system. Of course, most of us, we do not have the direct connection to the Guru, but we do have connection to the representatives of the Guru. So we must take advantage of that and reveal our hearts to them so that they can guide us, so that they can tell us how we can make spiritual advancement based on the situation that we are in. It's very, very important. And that then we will see that, the huge burden that we always keep carrying on our heads, that burden feels so light. We will feel so relieved that we are not doing things on our own. We have someone to guide us. We have someone to take care of us. That feeling is such a liberating feeling. And that is exactly how Arjuna felt. Because before, he was feeling so confused. In the first chapter, he was giving his arguments, he was giving his counter arguments. And the beginning of the second chapter, he landed up being confused. Krishna, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? I just don't know, Krishna. So, Krishna, please, please, you guide me. And then Krishna is listening to Arjuna's sweet words of surrender. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma samodha cheta yashreya hasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna is saying, "Oh my dear Lord Krishna, I am overcome by miserly weakness. and I don't know what is right and what is wrong. So therefore, I submit myself, I surrender myself to you as your disciple. Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam, that I surrender myself to you as your disciple. Please, please instruct me. And then Krishna starts speaking the Bhagavad Gita. And just like Srila Prabhupada says, how, the first things that we learn when we go to kindergarten, what do we learn? We learn A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, like that. So, therefore, the first teaching of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita starts with A also. He says to Arjuna in the second chapter, he says, the first instruction he says is, Ashocyan anvashochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasuncha nano shochanti pandita. That, my dear Arjuna, you are talking like a so-called pandita, but you don't even know what an actual pandita does. So therefore I will teach you now. And then Krishna goes on to explain in this complete second chapter. Krishna gives the contents of the entire Gita in a summary, in a nutshell, to Arjuna. So when something is given in a nutshell to someone, what is the result of that? When certain prerequisites are not matched, what is the result? The result is confusion again. So this third chapter, which is entitled Karma Yoga, it starts with Arjuna declaring it to Krishna that, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? That's what Krishna had mentioned, and in the second chapter. But Krishna is asking for a step-by-step process. He's explaining to Arjuna a step-by-step process. And Arjuna is saying in the second verse, he's saying that my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. Because Krishna in the second chapter, he actually speaks of many, many things. He talks about karma yoga, he talks about dhyana yoga, he talks about ashtanga yoga, he talks about bhakti yoga too. He talks about everything in the second chapter. So Arjuna is saying, well, whoa, 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 you're telling everything is good. But what is best for me in my situation? Tell me that. You are talking everything is good. Everything leads to something. But what does it lead to? Can you tell me decisively what is best for me? How much more clearer can Arjuna really submit himself to Krishna? So hearing this, this beautiful plea from Arjuna, Krishna starts speaking. And he says in chapter 3, this is where we are starting officially now. Chapter 3, text 3. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Lokesmin Dvividha Nishtha Puraprokta Mayanagaha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Translation: the Blessed Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who realize the self. Some are inclined to understand him by empirical philosophical speculation, and others are inclined to know him by devotional work. Text 4, Krishna is saying, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Text 5. All men are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Text 6. One who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Text 7. On the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion without attachment is by far superior. Text 8. Perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. A man cannot even maintain his physical body without work. Text 9. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Now, in the 108 verses, important verses, Bhagavad Gita, we all know that Srila Prabhupada, of course, there are 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. And out of those 700 verses, Srila Prabhupada chose 108 important verses. So this text 9 from chapter 3 is one of the important verses, which is very, very important for us to by heart it, to learn it. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. That was text 9 from chapter 3, and the last verse for today that we will read is text 10. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yagya," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakatha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatharine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangurlangayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So, in the verses that we read from text 3 to text 10, Krishna is giving very direct instructions to Arjuna. Very direct instructions. Now, we all know that there are 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita, which can be very well divided into 6, 6, and 6. It is said that the middle 6 chapters are bhakti. They glorify bhakti. The first 6 chapters glorify jnana, or knowledge. And the last 6 chapters glorify vairagya, or renunciation. So this Bhagavad Gita, if it is compared to a palanquin, then bhakti is like the queen sitting in the middle, carried on either side by jnana and vairagya. That is the beautiful analogy of this Bhagavad Gita. Also, another thing that is said about Bhagavad Gita is that Bhagavad Gita, the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, it starts with Dhritarashtra inquiring, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsava, Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya, that, my dear Sanjaya, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do when they got together in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in the holy place of Kurukshetra. So it starts with dha, Dhritarashtravacha dharma kshetre. It starts with dha. And the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita ends with a verse quoted by Sanjaya, where he says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. That wherever there is Krishna, the supreme master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there always resides Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutir, that there is always opulence and there's always victory wherever these two personalities are. Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So it ends with Ma. So it is said by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that since Bhagavad Gita starts with Dha, ends with Ma, whatever is in between is Dharma. So this is what is the religious principle that is stalled for this Kali Yuga, for us to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are so grateful to Srila Prabhupada, who, is giving us, from the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada, through his beautiful Bhaktivedanta purports, he is giving us a complete insight into the ultimate objective of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And what is Krishna's underlying message? Srila Prabhupada is giving us that through the medium of his purports, his enlightening purports. That Bhakti Yoga is the summum bonum of everything. This is what Krishna's final instructions are. But when we read the Bhagavad Gita, starting, because this is the ultimate instruction of Krishna about Bhakti Yoga, to engage in devotional service of the Lord. But Srila Prabhupada, he in his purports from the very first chapter itself, Srila Prabhupada is giving very nice way how he's connecting each and every verse of the Bhagavad Gita to give out this underlying principle that Krishna is trying to teach us through Arjuna. So we are so indebted to Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Vargas for giving us this kind of an insight into this beautiful Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. And that's why Srila Prabhupada, he actually referred Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he called it as it is, because he said, I called it as it is because this is literally as it is. How Krishna spoke it and how Arjuna understood it. That's why it's called as it is. So in this text 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 3, entitled Karma Yoga, Arjuna is confused in the beginning of this chapter, and Krishna is resolving now his doubt, Arjuna's doubt, his confusion, by saying something very, very direct to Arjuna. What is that he's saying? That I have already explained that there are two classes of men who realize the self. One is inclined to understand him by philosophical speculation, like the Gyanis. And the others are inclined to know him by pure devotional work. So Krishna is now taking Arjuna step by step. In the fourth verse, Krishna is saying that not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So how can one attain perfection? Because Krishna is saying that, you cannot say that I can become perfect by not doing anything, by not engaging in any kind of work, in any kind of karma. Because, even if we say that, okay, we will not do any kind of work, we'll not do any kind of work, other work, so that there is no reaction. And because if there is reaction, we can get sinful or, pious results. Therefore, we can be bound by the vicious cycle of karma. So Krishna is denying that fact that, you cannot say that you will abstain from work, because we will do, every living entity will do at least one work, which is the process of breathing. And when we do the process of breathing, there are millions of living entities who are coming in and out of our nostrils. They are dying. They're taking birth. So there is karma that is involved. So Even by saying that, okay, if you are, so Krishna is denying that fact that you cannot get away from work. You cannot say that because work gives me so much of binding, it binds me to this world, therefore I will not do any work. It's not possible. Nor can you say that, okay, now I'm renouncing everything, so therefore, I will attain perfection. No. We need to know what to renounce, how to renounce. We need to know those kind of details too. That's what Krishna is saying here in text 4. And text 5, Krishna is explaining in much more details. He's saying all men are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Very clearly, Krishna is saying that we cannot escape engaging in any karma or in any kind of work. Because the fact that we are in this material world, we will be inflicted by the three modes of nature, and we will be forced to act according to the impulses that are born out of those actions. So this is something very, very important for us to understand, that, anyone cannot say that, okay, from today I will not do anything. It's not possible. So here again, Krishna is giving in more deeper understanding. In text 6, he says, one who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Like, for example, some people may say, okay, I'm going to meditate. I am going to just close my eyes. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to close my eyes and I'm just going to meditate on nothing. Mind is blank. That is not possible. Our mind is the storehouse of all thoughts. So that's why Krishna is saying that we can externally pretend that we are, restraining the senses, we are restraining the acts of, acting, we are restraining ourselves, the organs of action. But because our mind is not purified yet, our mind will be dragged to some previous experiences that we have had. As soon as maybe the nose, smells something, immediately we remember, oh, this smell, I got it during this kind of experience. Oh, somebody is cooking something. Oh, when will I cook something like that? So this, or if we listen, if we use our ear to listen some kind of music that is going on, our mind is immediately drawn to the experience where we were during last time we heard that kind of music. It's very, very, it's very practical that the mind thinks like this. The other day, my Prabhu was telling me, we were listening to a very old kirtan of Srila Bhakti Swami Maharaj, and it's called Shochiro Anginai Nache Bishwambhara Rai. Shochiro Anginai Nache Bishwambhara Rai. Hashi hashi phiri phiri maire lukai. So I had just played this, bhajan by Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and Prabhu just came in and he just commented that, oh, I remember our, days in San Francisco. Whenever I would come back from work, you would have this particular bhajan playing. And then we started talking about, 2001, when we were in California during that time. Because this bhajan had the potency to take us back from 2020, it took us back to 2001. That is the potency of listening. So that is the potency of what, Krishna is explaining here, that we may restrain our senses, but the mind is still dwelling. So when we are dwelling on certain things, we cannot pretend that we are above certain level. We cannot pretend like that. That is cheating. That is what Krishna is saying, that don't be a cheater. Text 7, Krishna says, on the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion without attachment is by far superior. So, very, very clearly, Krishna says that inaction or not engaging in any kind of action is impossible for the living entity because of the nature of the living entity. Nature of the living entity is Anandamaya Abhyasa, that they are always looking for happiness. They are always looking to be in bliss because we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we are always looking how we can actually be happy. Even the small tiny ant. When the ant is going, try to put your finger in front of the ant which is coming by. The ant will go around the finger. That's how much, because even the little ant, it's looking for a little, tiny bit of sugar. They're looking for that. So every living entity, down from the ant to the highest living entity, they are looking and working for one thing only, which is happiness. So therefore, when we are looking for happiness, how can not doing something at all be satisfactory to us? It cannot be. It cannot give us lasting pleasure, and it cannot be sustainable also. So therefore, Krishna is saying, my dear Arjuna, instead of just withdrawing your senses from everything, instead of saying, no, 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 I will not do any action, what is the solution? You should control the senses by the mind and engage the active organs in works of devotion without any attachment. Very, very important statement by Krishna, that how this is the act of devotional service. This statement of Krishna was put into practice by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, if you are a very wonderful dancer, dance for Krishna. If you are a singer, sing for Krishna. If you are a painter, use your art in painting Krishna. Whatever qualities you have, use that quality in serving Krishna. We see how so many devotees Srila Prabhupada engaged based on their qualities, based on their desires. How when we read, the Srimad Bhagavatam or the Chaitanya Charitamrita or the Bhagavad Gita, we see so many beautiful paintings that actually bring to life what we are reading in those books. And those were the qualities of Srila Prabhupada, how he engaged his artistic devotees to paint the words of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the words of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the words of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and bring the Bhagavad Gita and these holy scriptures to life. That is the quality of Srila Prabhupada. Utilizing our senses and by the potency of our mind and directing it in the acts of Krishna, and directing it in devotional service to Krishna. That is the quality. You see, when we get chosen by maybe our school, to play basketball or a particular sport, a coach comes along with us who gives us the training how we can, bring out the talent in us and play that sport to the best of our ability. That is the quality of a coach. That is the role of a coach. And that is exactly what the spiritual master does. The spiritual master brings out, because each and every one of us have the innate quality to render devotional service to Krishna. And that desire is now covered. It is said that just like how, a pile of ash gets covered on fire, if you just blow away the ash, then the fire can start burning again. And we have seen this with our own eyes. In Mayapur, in the early days, when we were there in 96, 97 in Mayapur, we remember that right after Mangalarti, His Holiness Bhaktividya Purna Maharaj, very fondly called as Gurukul Maharaj, Maharaj would come every day with his Gurukul boys, and there was a very beautiful Yagyashala, which was right there in the middle of the Lotus Park in Mayapur, right opposite the temple of Radha Madhava. There was a very beautiful Yagyashala there where Maharaj would come personally, Gurukul Maharaj would come personally every day with the Gurukul boys, and they would perform yagya, for the well being of the devotees worldwide. And they would actually never put out the yagya fire. What they would do is that they would just take the ashes, the burnt wood, and they would just cover the fire. They would just cover it. And the next day, when they would come, they would just blow on the ashes, and then the fire would automatically start because the fire would have never extinguished. And then they would just put some, more fresh firewood, and then they would do the yagya. So, this is what Krishna, this is what is our condition, that our eternal love for Krishna, our eternal attachment to Krishna has become covered. Our desire to serve Krishna and his devotees have become covered over time. So the spiritual master, the senior Vaishnavas, they come and they blow the ashes away. And then the fire of Krishna consciousness is again reawakened in our heart. So that is what Krishna is saying, that we must be able to utilize our organs in the works of devotion without any kind of attachment. Text 8, Krishna is saying, therefore, perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. A man cannot even maintain his physical body without work. Krishna is saying something very, very practical, that nobody can sustain without work. But what is the way? There's a technique of how to work without causing any reaction. That is very, very important. That, the solution is not that, oh, I don't know how to swim, therefore I'll not go into the water itself. No. If we don't know how to swim, we can learn how to swim by putting on, floating devices. We can put on these, different, floating tubes and learn how to swim by that. So because we have to swim, we have to learn how to swim. So this is not an excuse that, oh, I don't know how to swim, therefore I'll not enter the water. So that's what Krishna is saying here, that action is better than inaction. That you cannot say that, oh, I don't want to act, I don't want to do anything. No, you cannot say that, because you will have to act in some way or the other. You will be bound to act. So therefore, we must know how to act in such a way that it doesn't cause any kind of bondage. That is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. It teaches us how to act without causing any kind of, how to render action without causing any kind of reaction. And that is what in text 9, Krishna is giving that solution. Text 9, again, one of the 108 important verses in chapter 3. Krishna is saying, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free and unattached and free from bondage. So, how to act in such a way so that it doesn't cause any reaction is that when we work for the pleasure of Vishnu, or Krishna, when we offer the results of our work to Krishna, that's when work does not cause any kind of bondage. What a beautiful way of saying. This is called akarma. There's karma, there's vikarma, and there's akarma. Karma means acting according to the laws of nature, which may have good or bad reactions. Karma means acting impiously, according, which is not there in the direction of the scriptures, according, working against the direction of the scriptures. So it will give negative results. That is vikarma. And means acting in such a way that gives us no reaction at all. That is the best, that we continue doing all our actions. But when we direct our action for the satisfaction of Krishna, when we do our work for the pleasure and satisfaction of Krishna, then such work will never cause bondage. So Srila Prabhupada gave us a very simple way of practically applying this principle in our day-to-day life. How? That, what is the main sustenance for all of us? We all go to work, we get some maintenance, we get money. So utilize part of that money in the devotional service of the Lord. Now the most important project that is, there all over the world is the TOVP, the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium. So if we can, give some part of our earnings to the completion of the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium, that is the best thing to do. So many devotees around the world, there are so many temples. Just yesterday we saw that France temple, the Hare Krishna temple in France, is undergoing a lot of financial difficulty. So whatever we can contribute, we should, even if it is, a very, very meager amount, but some kind of contribution to some temples who are in need of finances during this pandemic time. We should extend as much as possible to help devotees in different areas. That way, Krishna is seeing that, okay, we are purifying the result of our actions. The action that we are doing of going to work, the result is that we get the money. So utilize some portion of the money in this kind of work of charity. Then our money is purified. That is using our money in Krishna's service. That is a glorious act to do. It's not only a charity, but it is devotional service. It is devotional service. So we conclude today's session where Krishna is saying text 10, Krishna is saying that in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things." So here, when he created this material world, for a place of, it is a dukhalaya mashashvatam, it is a place of misery, it is a temporary place. But even in this temporary place, we often question that if Krishna knew that this is not something that we should be doing, then why did Krishna not give us a way out? Well, here is the answer. Text 10 gives us the answer, that Krishna did give us a solution. He did tell us how we can actually do our acts in such a way that will not cause bondage. We just need to know. A very beautiful example is given by Srila Prabhupada. He says there was once a man who did not even know what an aeroplane is. He had never seen an aeroplane. So he, came across this beautiful, huge aeroplane which had a nice staircase to it, leading up to it. So he started the staircase, and then he saw nice seats. He saw the first class cabin had beautiful, big seats. He sat down there, and then, he thought, oh, this is a nice place to stay. There's a restroom there. There's the pantry. I can eat. I can, sleep here. Oh, this is a nice home that I can start living in. And then slowly one day he starts exploring the plane, and he comes near the cockpit, and he sees that there's something like a steering wheel there. So he goes near the steering wheel and he just turns it on, and then the plane starts moving. He says, oh, yay! This is like a mobile home that I have. I can even go places. I can travel anywhere I want. So he brings that huge plane, he brings it to the road, to the main freeway, and he causes a havoc. because the plane has so much stretched wings and it's huge. And imagine driving a plane on the freeway, on the road. So he was causing too much of disturbance. But then he saw in the manual, he saw that this plane is capable to fly. So then he learned how to fly, and the manual was there to teach him, and he learned how to fly the plane. So this is what the plane was capable to do. But it is up to us how much we get the instruction manual, how much we follow the instruction manual. That is up to us. So this material world, it's a machine. So every machine comes with a instruction manual. So this instruction manual that came along with this machine of the material world is this kind of revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is our manual. It tells us how we can actually operate while we are in this material world and how we can actually get out of this machine also. It gives us the process. So that is the mercy of Krishna, that Krishna is giving us this kind of an operating manual by which, if we choose to follow the manual, we can choose to get out of this world too. That is the mercy of Krishna. So, with this, we end our session today. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Um, Otherwise, we will see you all again next Wednesday. And we look forward to all of your association. Again, wishing all of you a very, very happy Sri Nrsimha Chaturdashi. May Lord Nrsimha Dev bestow his protection upon all of us. And thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.